Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coast News. And as always, got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, the land, which was plans to be the site of the world's first polar coaster, has now officially gone up for sale. So that, if we hadn't already got enough confirmation that this whole project was cancelled anyway, then this now is. It's not happening anymore at all, ever. It's gone, dead. So basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, the polar coaster was meant to be it was planned, this specific site I'm on about, this polar coaster project was actually planned on multiple different sites across the United States. But the main one we're talking about in today's video is the site in Orlando for the whole Skyplex, like sort of tourist destination, which would have featured a number of different attractions. But the main headline attraction would have been what has been dubbed as the world's first polar coaster. Now, the whole plan for this ride concept is it was planned to take the record of the world's tallest roller coaster, and they would have planned to have it over 500 foot tall. I believe it would have been about 540 feet in height, which would have been absolutely huge. And it was supposed to basically wrapped around a brand new, like, large skyscraper type building, which was planned for the whole site. Which I think the skyscraper was meant to be like an observation tower as well. And it would have had like a large roller coaster and I believe a drop tower on the side of it as well. So it was quite an ambitious project. As for the height it was going to take the height record, but I don't think it would have taken the speed record. It only would have reached a maximum speed of 65 miles an hour. But yeah, it would have broken the height record massively, beating King the Car, which was then operational at the time. But then the fact is, they planned this as far back as about 10 years ago. They had these plans in the works for quite some time, like up until like a good few years ago, when it all just sort of went silent. And we don't really know why. I think Intamin were planning to build this attraction, and I'm not sure what happened to the company that was planning the whole project in the first place. But basically, this whole polar coaster concept, this whole Skyplex site, plans on it never got anywhere. It went completely silent for years and years and years, up until like literally a couple of days ago. In fact, it was literally yesterday when it was found that the land where they had planned to build this whole project, including the large roller coaster, has now gone up for sale. So we already knew it wasn't going to be happening anyway, because nothing has been said about it for years. But now this is even further confirmation anyway. Not that it matters anyway, because the polar coaster wouldn't have taken the height record anyway, because Falcon's flight's being built, which is over 600 foot tall. But either way, at least we now know that this project isn't happening. It's kind of a shame, but at least we have sort of confirmation now. In other news today, Formula Rossa has been spotted testing at Ferrari World. And this is actually a pretty good sign of the future of this ride. I was actually getting quite worried about what was going to happen to this. But if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, basically Formula Rossa is a Intamin accelerator coaster located at Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. It opened originally in 2010 and took the title from King the Car as the world's fastest roller coaster, and it has kept that title ever since, reaching a maximum speed of 0 to 140 miles an hour in about 4 or 5 seconds. So, which is actually insane. Like it literally goes so fast that people sitting on the front row of the ride have to wear safety goggles to make sure that any sort of like particles in the air, like any sand or flies or anything like that, don't hit them at such a rapid speed. Because it's going that fast that they have to make anything heading towards them could be, have massive consequences. So anyone sat at the front has to wear like safety goggles, to make sure nothing gets in their eyes. But yeah, it's honestly, it's one of the most iconic roller coasters on the planet, mainly because of its insane speed record. But all of this year, like ever since January this year, it's just been SB&O, standing but not operating. And nobody really knows why. I think there was like sort of murmurings about some sort of like incident that happened on the ride at the start of the year, but any sort of details on this incident has been kept quite, secretive. No one really knows anything about it, but it's been closed ever since that day. I think it was like late January. It's been closed for nearly a year basically. and it was getting quite concerning. And over the months, they started doing work on the launch. They started basically taking out the entire launch section. So that sparked rumours of they're either going to close it permanently, or they're going to sort of like do what Cedar Point did with Top Thrill Dragster and convert it into an LSM launch coaster. How they do that, I don't know. Well, we know how to do that anyway because Cedar Point did it, but they contracted Zamperla to do it. As for the actual launch track itself, I don't know if it's been converted into an LSM launch or if they still kept the hydraulic systems. But recently, the rider was actually spotted testing. Whether the speed of the rider's changed anyway, whether it still retains that 149 mph top speed, we don't know. But this is a good sign that they still want to keep the ride operational for years to come. And hopefully, it shouldn't be too long now until Formula Rossa officially reopens. Also in the news today, Nighthawk at Carowinds has permanently closed. And this is actually, yet again, is just more of the whole Six Flags Entertainment Corporation's plans to just cut back on attractions. They did it, if you don't talk about basically, Nighthawk was a Vekoma Flying Dutchman roller coaster located at Carowinds in North Carolina in the United States. It opened in the year 2004 at Carowinds, but it hadn't originally operated there. Originally, it opened in the year 2000 at California's Great America, but it was known as Stealth. It was the world's first Vekoma Flying Dutchman, and what that is, it's basically just like, imagine like a B&M flying coaster, so like Galactica Alton Towers, where it's like an earlier version built by Vekoma instead. So there's quite a few differences to the Flying Dutchman compared to the B&M flying coaster. The main one being that on the Flying Dutchman, you actually start standing up facing backwards and the seats tilt backwards on you. So you're sort of like a lying down position at first, where it's not like that on like the B&M flyers or even like the new generation Vekoma flying launch coaster like Fly at Fantasyland. Yeah, but it only operated for a few years at California's Great America, and then it got relocated to Carowinds in 2004 under the new name Nighthawk. It's been operating there ever since. And there's been a lot of concern over the past few years about how much longer these Flying Dutchmans are going to last, because in 2018, Firehawk at Kings Island closed, which meant there were only 2 Flying Dutchmen left in operation. There's Nighthawk at Carowinds, and there was also Batwing at Six Flags America, I think it was. And then literally other day, Carowinds officially confirms that Nighthawk has been permanently retired. Now, I suspect that this is definitely part of the whole like new structure for the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation. Because if you don't know about basically earlier this year, Cedar Fair and Six Flags merged into one company, now known as the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation. I mean, there's like 42 amusement parks under their banner now, and since this merger, they've been making like loads of different cutbacks on various different rides and attractions that they don't see as like financially, like, you know, they don't see it as like, basically they don't see them as being able to justify keeping them operating for long enough. So they did it with King of the Car earlier this year and Green Lantern at Six Flags Great Adventure, and now they're doing it with Nighthawk at Carowinds. So it's such a shame that this ride is closing. That means that Batwing is the only Vekoma Flying Dutchman left in operation, but it's wondering until how long until that closes. So yeah, this ride Nighthawk will be missed indeed. And finally in the news today, Siren's Curse at Cedar Point has officially gone vertical. And it's actually crazy, this ride. Like, it's now got like literally the North America's second Vekoma tilt coaster. If you know what I'm talking about, basically, Siren's Curse is a brand new Vekoma tilt coaster that's being built at Cedar Point in Sandusky in Ohio in the United States. It is planned to open in 2025, and it will be subject to which one opens first, because currently in the US, there are 2 Vekoma tilt coasters being built right now. There's Siren's Curse, which I mentioned already, and the Circuit Breaker at Circuit of the Americas in Texas. And currently around the world there's 3 being built, with the other one being Iron Rattler at Six Flags Qiddiya in Saudi Arabia. And these are all new generation Vekoma tilt coasters. So we know of the original like prototype tilt coasters with, well, there was only one built. It was Gravity Max at Lipoland in Taiwan, which opened in the early 2000s. That ride is become one of the most iconic roller coasters on the planet, because a tilt coaster, if you don't know what a tilt coaster is, it's a roller coaster that gets to the top of the highest points of the ride, so via the lift hill, and gets to a flat section of track that just stops, like sort of with nothing at the edge. Then it tilts 90 degrees until it's at like a vertical like sort of position, and it drops down. So it is actually like one of the most terrifying elements on a roller coaster. I've never seen or experienced one of these before, but these are infamous for being absolutely like, you know, terrifying to look at, both off ride and probably on ride as well. But yeah, there was only ever one built by Vekoma. Since then, there are a few like knockoff tilt coasters built by Jinmu Rides in China, but I think there were there weren't many of them built either. I think there was about 3 or 4. But Siren's Curse, Circuit Breaker, and Iron Rattler marks the return of the original, well, the Vekoma tilt coasters in a new generation version, which has obviously, you know, new updated technology, new trains, new track. Everything has been updated and modified and upgraded to fit a sort of a modern standard. And it's only a matter of time to see which one actually officially opens first, because Iron Rattler went vertical ages and ages ago, and the track for that is probably already complete. Circuit Breaker went vertical like about a month ago or so, and Siren's Curse went vertical a couple of days ago. So it's just a matter of time before see which one opens first. Which one do you think will be first? Siren's Curse, Circuit Breaker, or Iron Rattler? Let me know in the comments below what you think. So that is it for this week's episode of Coast News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment what you would like to see in the next video. Goodbye.